What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Purple Garage. My name is Joshua Murray, and today we're back working on Deep Orange 9, our resident race car. So the goal for today is to do a little bit of dyno tuning. We're strapped down here onto a chassis dyno, and the goal is to, number one, we want to get it to go fast before we go on the track. So the goal would be about 80 to 100 miles an hour, because the fastest we've ever taken it on the little road outside of our building here is about 50. So we just want to make sure it doesn't shake itself apart at those high speeds. The other thing is the ECU parameters are happy right now. It seems like the engine's running, but we think it could make a lot more power. A lot of the parameters like the spark timing are values that, based on what we know about spark ignition engines, are maybe working but not reasonable, not good values. So we're going to try to play with that.
Yeah, so the first thing we're going to, like you said, is a spark timing sweep, because right now we're sparking 33 degrees before top dead center, which is extremely early. So that may be a reason why we're losing a bunch of power, just because the majority of the combustion happens way too early. So we're going to first do that, then we're going to do some steady state driving at constant speed, trying to have the volumetric efficiency figured out, just so the engine knows how to breathe correctly, and then inject the right amount of fuel basically. So the goal is trying to make the most power that we can out of this engine and try to have it run as well as possible. And then, like you said, we're going to bring it up to as fast as we can on this chassis dyno, so that when we take it on track, we know it's ready.
Yeah, let's get started.
So the chassis dyno, I don't know if you guys have had a lab here before or not, but so you've noticed with smooth rollers because it's an NVH dyno. That's why this room is semi-anechoic. So we can't really do some hard pulls like you see on those crazy videos. I think each rollers are rated to 125 horsepower. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's 250 horses on the rear alone, and it's really not a lot, especially for this car. So we can't really do some crazy stuff on here. So that's why the goal is right now is just to drive it normal, just trying to have the most out of it. So we won't be able to reach the entirety of the map, just because this dyno has limit. So there's a whole HVAC system. Once we start it, we'll see this flap in the back is actually going to come up, and there's air circulation around the vehicle. We added these tubes just for cooling purposes, because you're not really on the road. Even though there's some cooling aerodynamic stuff that was done for this car, it might not be very efficient here, in this case in the room. So we added these two big tubes to blow some air in the back. So what we're going to do mostly is road load. So there's some coefficients that kind of represents what the road friction, coefficient of friction, the drag would, and the rolling resistance of the tire. So it's kind of a simulation so that you're not just free rolling on some rollers inside, and just trying to simulate the outdoor conditions. This is the massive vehicle, gradient is the incline, but we're flat here, so it's fine. And then the rest right here, this is the exhaust suction. So we don't want to die out of exhaust fumes, so we have a whole lot of tube which basically sucking all of the exhaust out of this room. And this cooling flow part is just that HVAC system I was talking about. So we'll get some speed data, vehicle speed, some force and power. There's another window that shows the torque. We can try and look at that too. But what we really care about is the power. We want to know how much power this car can make. But then, like I said, those rollers are rated to 125 per roller, so 250 in the back. So if we get to 250, I'll be happy. Another problem is getting traction on those rollers, because they're smooth. It's really not easy. So we'll see what we can do. But Joshua tried it on Thursday, and he was able to get some good driving on it. So it's a good start.
exhaust? You're not too hot?
Your YouTube guys. Yeah, I got it.
Now you can.
Literally. It was touching the exhaust, that's fine.
Oh. Hey, that's easy to fix. Okay, so we did a couple runs on the dyno, which I guess you've just seen, but they were relatively successful. It seems like the throttle response still could use some work. The power numbers, I think, are still kind of low, so we're going to work on that. The car also got really, really hot really fast, so we started burning up some stuff in the back. This is the overflow hose that comes out of the overflow for the coolant. It got against something hot and burned the side of the hose, so we're going to have to replace that. We also burned the duct tape off of our exhaust suction tube here, so we had to redo that. But we're going to try again, and hopefully it'll be a little more power and maybe a little less hot. So that was a pretty successful day on the dyno, I'd say. We were able to tune our spark timing and a couple other parameters. We also got some pretty incredible pulls out of the car, which I didn't think we'd be able to get on this dyno. But yeah, we got some steady state stuff too.
Yeah, we've got some very good data actually. A lot of things that can help us to tune this map offline more properly and then put them back on the car. We were thinking also that the rear tire was slipping a lot because I don't think there's much traction on these rollers, and the tires are kind of old. So I think on and on it's kind of good anyway. We got good data that we can use, but I think we'll get to see the real power of this car when we take it out on track on proper tires. But it was still fun. I think we got a lot of things done, and everybody that was here today was pretty happy with what we did. So, so it was a successful day.
Yeah, we saw I think 120 kilometers per hour on the dyno, which is what, like 80 miles per hour maybe. We saw about 100 to 110 horsepower at the wheels, which it's got to be more than that. So I think Thibaut's right. We probably were slipping a little bit because of the basically bald tires on the smooth roller. But yeah, like you just alluded to, our next step is to take it on the track and see if we can make some noise and go somewhere. So stay tuned and thanks for watching.